And that was a shoot.
Yeah, that's full-blown shoot.
Since you want to shoot, cowboy!
And now, the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back after a long hiatus to the Real Shoot Podcast, presented by
the IWS,
the Indie Wrestling Society. Got quite a few things to talk about today. First and foremost, we are bringing this podcast back to a regular point. We will be having some of you, the listeners and fans, through Facebook and Twitter as a part of this. We might have a few segments with some other familiar people that you know from the page. And, revitalizing the Real Shoot Podcast. It should be a podcast in itself about a podcast.
It's a podcast within a podcast.
That's right.
It's like the inception of podcasts.
Podception.
Podception.
If you will. Anyways, today our intent was to film this episode from the Four Horsemen comic shop. This is still kind of like them getting a plug, I guess, at the Meadowbrook Mall over here in Bridgeport, Clarksburg. I don't know which one gets the classification anymore.
I believe it's Clarksburg.
Yeah, it's Clarksburg. It's all the same place to me. But due to me becoming an old man, I took a nap.
You pulled a regular Rip Van Winkle?
I missed an appointment and everything today, or this evening. So we're not doing that from there. Instead, we would like to talk to you about the sponsor in which we are filming today. And I just want to let you all know, if you're looking for a real nice smooth ride with a calming voice next to you, then you should really take a ride in Rob's Subaru Impreza, because that is currently where we're filming from. And you hear the sound quality in here? Pristine.
You know, that is kind of funny that you say that. Since when I worked radio in college, my radio show was the Rough Ride Home with Smooth Rob.
Ooh, we're bringing some real old flavor back in here.
Oh yeah,
Smooth Rob's in the house.
Like 17 years ago.
Well, man, you just get smoother with age, right?
Probably just dated myself now.
Yeah, hey. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, you just kept the smoothness for that long. That's an achievement in itself. Anyways, I think we should go ahead and talk about just kind of our experience from 2 weeks ago, because it's still a buzz thing in my head. Like, I really enjoyed going up to seeing Global Wars.
Yes, Ring of Honor Global War.
Yes. It was an amazing time. Up in Pittsburgh is the show that we caught. And just the meet and greets, getting to meet the people that we did. The whole experience in general was awesome. And Ring of Honor, every time I've gone to a Ring of Honor show with you guys, it's just been better and better.
Yeah, they're like the FedEx of wrestling shows. It always delivers.
That is true. Man, we're just product placement out the wazoo today.
And we're not even getting paid.
We're not even getting paid. Hopefully that changes. But yeah, you got to meet Cody again.
And Deanna
Purrazzo. And you had an interesting story about Deanna in your photograph, what I'm dating myself and don't even need to, in your picture with her. God, what the hell? I really did rip Van Winkle.
Are you getting old and senile?
Maybe. But tell them about the person that took your picture and the coincidental stuff that happened afterwards.
Well, because BJ and Ellen were too excited about the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega being there, they left me with no one to take my picture with my autograph with Deonna Purrazzo. So, I had to rely on finding someone over there. And there was someone standing at a table, and he was talking to Deonna about waiting for Toru Yano to get there. And didn't recognize the person, thought, maybe they sent somebody from the office to help him because maybe he's not that good with English or whatever from being from Japan.
Right.
Not a big deal. And so she asked that person to take the picture. And, I didn't realize who it was until several hours later when we were eating at Denny's. And then, which was probably, another 6-7 hours later.
Yeah.
And finally realized that it was Will Ospreay.
That took your picture?
That took my picture.
That's beautiful.
And then the odd thing, which I guess was karma for me not recognizing Will Ospreay, was that my camera quit working later on in the night.
I mean, he is the aerial assassin. Maybe he just took out that camera because he didn't think you appreciated.
Yeah.
He did some kind of high fly move in the middle of the show and just, camera broke.
Yeah, well, I'm going to just assume that he had those cat ears on and it's like a Clark Kent-esque disguise.
I mean, he is a cat. He is a cat. That's great. Yeah, Alan, who is not here with us today.
Because he's actually has responsibilities or something.
Yeah, something about being a dad. I don't know anything about that.
Me
I
either.
hope.
You're not aware of it?
Yes, I'm not aware. And I say that in the nicest of ways, even though it scares me. I have nothing to be afraid of, but man, it's a scary thought. and not for me having a kid, it's BJ being a father. That's a scary thought. Not alone. Anyways, that's off topic from where we're at. But Kenny finally got to meet, Alan finally got to meet Kenny Omega. And he told me, he's like, I even got to give him like a slight hug. He was marking out pretty well, but it was funny to see. He's lucky. He's lucky that Kenny was here because there are full intentions and a plan in place for me to go to Japan next year for the G1. And if I could have gotten a picture with Kenny, it would have been holding a sign that said, "Fuck you, Alan," just to mess with Alan. So, it's good that he got that opportunity before I got mine. That's all I'm going to say. I got to meet the Young Bucks and Kenny, finally. And Minoru Suzuki, or Minoru, however you want to pronounce it. And Hiromu Takahashi and Daryl. Got to meet Daryl Takahashi.
You were probably more excited about Daryl.
Actually, I really like Hiromu.
And I hope you congratulated Daryl on his recent wedding to Carol Takahashi.
I did not.
You're so rude, BJ.
I know, I'm so rude. I even gave him all the LIJ fist bump and everything. But it's one of the damnedest things. Had you not already saw it, you can tell the genuine feeling that someone gives you, like if they're a good person or not. And that's what I like. Takahashi, meeting him, it was like, wow, he's such a nice dude. And I mean, I know right now he's kind of on a bit of a face run thanks to Daryl, which is weird that a stuffed cat makes you a good guy. But when he was just dastardly, like, I wouldn't have believed it. I would, like, not that he couldn't do the gimmick and whatever. I wouldn't have believed how well he could pull it off to make you think at times that, like, how nonchalant and he looks like his caring. He gave the total opposite vibe when meeting people, and that was really cool. Side note, after watching Suzuki's match with the last real man.
Silas Young.
Oh yeah. I am glad that I did not do my initial idea on having Suzuki chop me in the chest when I met him, because I don't know if I would still be here. Nah, that's a joke, but honestly, I watched that dude chop Samson, or not Samson, but Silas. I'm still asleep apparently. But I was just like, oh shit. It was intense. There were some marks there.
I do actually have like a funny story from meeting Cody in my conversation with him.
Okay.
The Cody shirt I was wearing wasn't your typical Bullet Club Cody shirt.
Right, yeah, it's the one where he's kind of like, it almost makes him look kind of like a bobblehead.
Yeah.
Like it's a bigger, yeah.
But he, like, thanked me for having that shirt and not the normal, like, Bullet Club shirt, and asked me if I had seen, I think it was Zack Ryder had posted a picture of himself wearing that shirt on, like, Twitter earlier in the week or whatever. And Cody said, I, like, messaged him or whatever, and was like, thanks for wearing my shirt or whatever, man. He's like, yeah, they sent it to me for free.
Zack Ryder didn't even pay for it.
No, he just got it
Didn't even pay for it.
He just got it for free.
That's funny.
And I had to pay full price, so
Well, I mean,
whatever, Zack Ryder.
he's got the clout apparently. Him and Cody are good friends in real life though, so that's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, the shows were great. I loved every part of it. We've still got pictures and video and stuff that I am putting up through our Instagram and onto our Twitter, I think, on appropriate days, like Turn Back Thursday? Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know the lingo. And then there's like the Flashback Fridays sometimes.
Yeah.
So instead of Follow Friday all the time. But yeah, we're gonna share some of that stuff, and that was really cool. But if you get the opportunity to check out a ROH show, you need to do it. Not only for the sake of supporting amazing talent and good production, but you need it for your wrestling soul. You really do, because in a world where we get some things like the main event of TLC, you need something with consistency and some depth to it, and ROH will give you that.
I don't even know if it's necessarily depth in like the storyline sense, but it's the actual wrestling.
Yeah.
Because they keep the storylines simple enough that you can follow them and don't need a scorecard.
Exactly. Ring of Honor is like the nice warm bowl of chicken soup in your winter of wrestling.
Yes.
They're just good all around.
Unless you're like some people that don't like it for whatever reason because you've been watching WWE for like 50 years.
Just give it a chance. That's all I can say is give it a chance. Don't get caught up in the outside promotion of people from the show. Like, being the elite, it isn't for everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not gonna be. But what you see there is not what's reflected on the show. Like, it's its own thing. And if that's what you go to base your opinion of Ring of Honor off of, then you're not giving Ring of Honor a fair crack.
Watch some actual wrestling to give it its opportunity. And, don't care whether you think the lights or it's not as bright as like WWE or whatever, because the wrestling will brighten it up for you.
It really will. It really will. So, I guess we can move on a little bit to some randomness. I mentioned the TLC match. That was really weird seeing that match. I noticed between TLC and Raw, it just seemed like there were a lot of points where there were lulls or miscommunications and just pauses of things where they shouldn't be. I saw a little bit of that with Kane at TLC with some segments, but I just thought,
It's been forever.
it's been a while, and I'm just glad to have Kane back because it's the 20th anniversary of Kane, which is really cool to me.
Yeah.
But then there were just other ones, like even when it came to like the beatdown part of the TLC match where it was all of them just beating down Seth and Dean. Like it seemed to drag, and like they didn't know what they wanted to do, and I don't know. It just came off really weird, and then a few segments on Raw did the same, and so I don't know. It was weird to watch those back to back because I kept noticing those things. SmackDown was better. It was back to its normal standard of production anyways, I thought. But we'll talk about the main thing after all of this was said and done. First of all, Kurt Angle looked really good, but it's not like Kurt Angle's been out of wrestling that long. They hyped it up that he hadn't been, wrestling in like 11 years.
In a WWE
But it was
ring.
in a WWE ring. He was just wrestling a year ago against Cody.
Yeah, he has actually been in some other places like WCPW and
Yep.
a lot of indie places. So
Yeah. So I expected him to look good. He did. And I'm interested to see where this goes with him and if he's going to be getting back into the ring a little bit more often than what I initially thought, which was going to be like WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And that's probably pretty much it. Maybe a Rumble, But now I don't know. Maybe things will change.
don't know if it will. I feel like it was more like the, we have all these people that are sick and can't work, and we just have to
Do what we have to do.
Yeah, do what we have to do. And actually, I saw online earlier today where they apparently called Chris Jericho and asked him if he could come in, but he couldn't because of his tour with Fozzy. So
Yeah. Which I'm glad he's doing that tour anyways. I haven't listened to the whole album, but everything that I've heard from it so far has just been really good. And I've listened to older Fozzy stuff, and I do enjoy them. But I really feel like this album is probably their best effort that they've put out. Like it's a really solid record so far. So don't blame him. And he should keep it that way for a little bit.
And he's got to get ready for the
Cruise of Jericho.
The Cruise of Jericho with this Wrestling Rager or whatever it was called.
Yeah, with some ROH guys, and he keeps talking about it. It's not, he's not getting bottom of the barrel people. Like it's going to be full on stuff. And now there's rumors, based on the tweets back and forth that he might be getting Kenny Omega. Do you think Jericho will wrestle on his own cruise?
Why not?
Well, I mean, a lot of people seem to think that he's a WWE guy, and so even though he's not underneath the contract, he wouldn't wrestle anywhere else unless it was underneath the WWE banner. But this cruise is specifically Ring of Honor talent. So if he brought in Kenny to wrestle him, it would break what he hasn't done in decades.
But it's also his own sponsor namesake thing. So
I'm not taking that away from him.
There's some, I would say, expectation that he, for the people that actually go on the cruise, that he's probably going to wrestle. And he has no actual commitment to WWE, and I don't really see where they would hold it against him for working his own thing, because
it's his thing.
It's his thing, and he's up in that point in his career with his age and everything that he's not anything more than a part-timer really anywhere for, any extended period of time anyway.
Right.
I'm not saying he's not good, but just
Right.
at
Well,
this
I mean,
point in his side projects.
He was there a lot longer on his stint with Raw with Kevin Owens than anyone thought he was going to be.
Yeah, and like I said, I think basically that's just at the point of his career, and I mean, doing that kind of thing, if it's a success, is kind of a way for him to make more money in the later part of his career than, probably what a part-time wrestler is going to be for him.
Right. That is true. Just good things are going for him, so hopefully that cruise is really successful. I know we've got Tim is really anxious for it and wanting to do it and trying to get some people on board, and depending upon how things go with Japan, I might head that way as well. But Japan is first for me, at least this year.
You could try to get the cruise to Japan, maybe.
There's a cruise to Japan. There's no cruise to Japan.
Well, I was going to say you could try it.
If it went through like the Dragon's Triangle, I might do it. It's one of my weird places to like hit in my life. I want to go to both it and Bermuda.
In the Dragon Triangle?
Yep. Yeah, so if I ever disappear one day, you know where I might have visited. But so the big thing at the end of Raw, they're hyping Survivor Series. They had the SmackDown Live roster, or most of them, come in and lay waste to most of the Raw roster. Raw did not retaliate on SmackDown, which I think is great because, you can save it. Oh, they didn't do it this week, so are they going to do it next week? When are they going to do it? When are they going to strike? But it brought some interesting dynamics when it came to SmackDown. Daniel Bryan didn't know that Shane was going to do it. And they seemed to have a big disagreement about that. Not like they were in each other's faces, but, Daniel Bryan confronted him about it and said, you didn't go through me about this. And Shane said, well, there's some decisions that have to be made that are bigger. And I think it's kind of playing into the storyline of what Sami Zayn was saying the week before, when he was telling Daniel Bryan that he became the thing that he despised, that he's the authority, and he's doing what's best for business now, and that he sold out. And I think when Shane was kind of undermining him as general manager, even though by definition of their titles, Shane is able to do more. I think that might all come into play. I think we might get heel Daniel Bryan at some point as a general manager, helping Owens and Zayn.
That'll just be odd because we've never, that I can really recollect, seen a full-on heel Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson anywhere that's just gotten in some of his matches where he had to be more aggressive than others.
I thought the no phase before Team Hell Yeah, when he was just no, he had his head shaved, doing no this, no that, was with AJ Lee, like that kind of stuff. I thought he was a heel then.
Well, I think they tried to make him heel, but I don't think it was actually successful.
I don't know. I remember kind of feeding into it a little bit at first, but you might be right. But I mean, they're doing it with Sammy, and it's working out amazingly well. I don't know if you watched this past week.
Not on SmackDown.
But he comes, like, Sammy's coming out to his theme music and just dancing just like a cheeky dick. Like he knows, oh, you don't like me, I don't care, I'm getting down. And like he even did it in front of Randy, like he had to face Randy. He just stands at one point and just starts dancing in front of Randy. Like, just to be that guy. So yeah, that was pretty funny.
I don't know, with that whole invasion angle or whatever you want to call it at the end of Raw.
Under Siege.
Under Siege. I kind of actually, it was one of the few things they've done recently that I actually liked, because you don't really see that kind of thing anymore in WWE. But I think it kind of added a little bit of realism to it. I think they just need to, I know it's going to sound weird, but I think if they worked on the production values and made them crappier for like the back area kind of stuff, it would have made it more realistic, because some of those really realistic segments that, pulled people in the past, that, the production wasn't back there like, they know that there's something going to happen back there, so we're just, make sure it's lit up back there.
Yeah.
Because I'm going like way back, but with the Tupelo Concession Stand Brawl, which was kind of the birth of hardcore wrestling, they actually like literally light it up at all for TV in the building that they did it in. There was like a crow's nest for the announcers.
Yeah.
And the camera, like basically the announcer took his mic, grabbed a light stand, and a cameraman carried it down there to where the brawl was going on. They call it a brawl for the tape. So they literally just had like a stage light that the announcer picked up, other than just the few random like arena lights that were going on.
Yeah.
And I think if they did something like that to make it more gritty and realistic looking, it would be better than it, being all lit up.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That's cool. I liked it, and that was what you said, they hadn't done something like that in a long time. I was thinking back to the last time that they had the brand split, and I think it was Survivor Series. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I remember when like SmackDown invaded Raw, and like Batista bombed, was it the Big Show or somebody, onto a car, and like it was just chaos out of nowhere, like fighting all, and I just was thinking about that when like sometime over the week after they were talking about Raw versus SmackDown for Survivor Series, and one of my buddies that I at least watch one show with weekly, I was talking to him and we were reminiscing about that, and then we're watching Raw and SmackDown invaded and kind of did that. I was like, that's really cool. Like I'm glad that's a thing again. And a lot of people don't get this. They were like, oh yeah, it immediately like kills the stories that are going on SmackDown, because you had heels and faces working together and all this kind of stuff. And I understand the thought process, and I also understand people wanting to judge that and say that, oh, SmackDown must be the heel show or whatever. But if you think about it a little deeper, where they make SmackDown the land of opportunity, think about their title matches. Think about their big, important things. So far on SmackDown Live, it has been about the competition. It has been about being the best. Even when there's a heel that will sneak to win, there's not the personal animosity. They're just now even introducing that with Shane McMahon and Owens and Zayn now. All this time, whether it be in Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton, there were other things in play, but it was about trying to be the best. Baron Corbin with the U.S. title, it was about trying to be the best. And now he's the U.S. champ, and he doesn't want to give anybody a chance. But it's, you know what I mean? It's about earning your way and getting your opportunities. So to see them all together at the end of Raw, that didn't throw me off for a bit, because on their show, it's about the opportunity and the competition, but they all agree that they're better than the other show. So, all right, we might not get along, but we hate all them. So for tonight, we're fine.
And basically the whole way that anything you've seen online about rumor, or like the rumored card or anything, is almost more of a us versus them kind of thing than anything. So I think, even though you can say maybe you kind of ended those stories, but you have news story of the competition between the shows, not between the people that are on there.
Right. And, well, that was the other thing even that I really enjoyed is a lot of the people that were involved, their counterparts necessarily weren't. Shane didn't bring Owens and Sami Zayn. The Usos weren't there to go against Gable and Shelton, who they're dealing with now. The New Day and them kind of, you know, had respect for each other now, so I would have allowed that. Like, I would have thought that would have been fine. But I don't think Jinder was there.
I don't remember seeing him.
I think one of the most awkward people I think that I saw there was Shinsuke.
Yeah. And he was probably trying to figure out how not to kill somebody back there.
Probably. But then they had Rusev there, and Rusev is probably the one that I would figure the most, like Rusev Day, not against SmackDown, whatever, but Orton wasn't there, and that's the person that he's mainly been, like, working with. So it's like they played that well by who they didn't include, I thought. And, you know, the other thing, and they even addressed it on SmackDown, was when Ziggler and Bobby Roode were there, and they were kind of together, even though they're against each other.
Yeah.
They even talked about that, like, when in a backstage segment of Ziggler being like, oh, you think just because we invaded, like, we're fine? We're not fine, you know? And so, like, I don't know. It worked for me. I thought it was really good. I'm interested to see if Raw, you know, when Raw retaliates, how that will turn about. And, yeah.
Braun
like,
comes back as a garbage truck zombie.
Yeah.
And takes him out.
I'm going to give a shout out here to Keith Ammerman from our Facebook page, but he said they should have done the Ninja Turtles, like Turtles 2, where Braun's hand was coming up out of the garbage wreckage that he was still there. That would have been great. It would have been so awesome. But yeah, so we don't even know where Braun is. Is he still alive? Like,
I'm telling you, it like took Kalisto like 3 or 4 months to get out of a
dumpster.
If Braun's back in less than 6 months, that totally kills their logic.
That's funny. Well, when he came back, didn't he get a new mask, or did he have the new mask when he got put in the dumpster?
I think his ring gear changed a little bit, but it was the same basic premise.
Yeah.
So I don't know if what they'll do with that. Maybe they'll, if they have to take somebody else out, they'll have Braun hit him with a garbage truck or something. Like he'll just show back up on Raw driving it.
Yeah. I'm not done with you yet. I was just telling someone about that storyline. Someone who's not been exposed to wrestling, or at least in the last few years, and I was telling them that, like, they've always got a story with Braun and Roman, because he could just attack Roman and tell him, "I'm not done with you yet," and he's not. Like, that's been the thing the whole time.
Well, what I would like to see with this now, since it was like the Miz and his crew that threw.
That he comes back after them.
Yeah, he comes back after like the Miz, but we see him like drive since Miz is like the big Hollywood A-lister that you expect the mansion for or whatever.
Yeah.
That he like comes up with the trash truck.
Puts the Miz in there?
And he dumps the load of trash like in the Miz's house or something.
That would be good.
And then he's like, "I'm not done with you yet."
I like that. That's my favorite Braun Strowman. It's the "I'm not done with you yet" Braun Strowman.
Or ambulance flipping action Braun Strowman.
That one's good too. Or spear ducking.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman.
Or, well, I'd say basically since him and Kane got into it, his next thing will be with like Kane though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe it'll be like an Inferno match, but with a burning pile of garbage instead of the flames on the outside.
It was an interesting take, and I have to wonder if they decided to go this route with Kane, thanks to Roman being sick. But it made a lot more sense to me if they would have had Kane say that he was avenging Taker.
Well, I kind of thought that might have been where they were going. And, let this match happen and then Kane show up on TV and explain that
That's why he was
did
here.
it. But then with him not actually getting his hands on Roman, then
It kind of takes away.
he kind of had to stop, but needed somebody in the match. So you got him, and then we'll
pick
put
that
him-
back up here
yeah.
later, maybe.
whenever Roman's not sick.
Yeah. What a godsend for everybody, and this isn't against him, and I don't wish ill will on anybody, but what a godsend for everybody for Bray to get sick. He didn't have to do that Sister Abigail gimmick, because we all know how over that was.
Where he was possessed with Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Or by Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. Hello! That was my Mrs. Doubtfire. It's terrible.
No, I'm just like seeing the scene from the movie, but with it being like
Bray
with where he catches the blouse on fire when he's cooking and everything.
The hot flashes starting, yeah. But I feel like I've been doing that a lot tonight. Just call me Butter.
Well, you could be like that one professor I had in college when he would be telling us to do something and then be like, tell us to read certain section in the book. He'd be like, read chapter 8 of Williams.
He was channeling his inner self. And he had traveled such a far distance away from that he was trying to get back, I guess. I don't know.
It was for
probably a post-it note would have helped him a lot.
Yeah, it was some Appalachian Studies class that I had.
Oh.
But I think he was just kind of bumbling because I went to his office on the last day of classes to pick up some paper to get my grade on it or whatever. And for some reason he had his dog in his office kind of leashed up on something and had water and food there for it. And he had this thing pulled out on his desk or something too, and he's in his office chair trying to avoid his dog and turns around and just slams his stomach into the thing that's pulled out on his desk and so I think he was just the complete bumbling professor guy.
Wow.
I can't even remember
his name
at this point.
Professor Bumble.
Yeah.
Bumbledore.
But yeah, because he couldn't even tell when somebody was completely BSing. So
that's lovely.
Yeah, somebody was pointing a map where they're saying there's a railroad here and doing a presentation, no railroad there. So he was completely bumbling.
He just let it be.
Yeah, it's like Santino was a college professor, I guess.
Just think of the trumpet in the classroom, or the trombone. Oh man, they should do a skit where Santino comes back with a new day since he was doing the trombone.
Yeah.
And he actually grabs their trombone.
Have somebody show up dressed like Jim Cornette.
I don't know if we should go that far on WWE anyways. But yeah, I don't know. Survivor Series is looking to be pretty decent. We've got all the champions are facing each other. So we get the interesting matchup of Baron Corbin versus The Miz. I don't really know how that one's going to end, but for some reason I'm intrigued to see that. We get Natalya versus Alexa Bliss.
Is Zack Ryder the special guest referee?
No, but I thought, how interesting would it be if Carmella would cash in the middle of that match, because no title's on the line. So then all of a sudden it becomes a triple threat match, but the SmackDown Women's Championship is on the line. And what if Alexa Bliss won? Because technically, if Carmella injected herself, doesn't the entire match become for the title, or is it only if Carmella wins?
I don't know.
Well,
that's one of those things that they never answer.
Yeah, well, see, I'm thinking along the lines of, the Mae Young Classic talent that has come in and they're working NXT, and the NXT women's division is huge, and 205 Live got its own show. The UK thing still might have its own show, so why wouldn't the women get their own show? I'm not saying that they shouldn't be featured, but like, what would happen if Alexa Bliss had both titles and it just started this women's show where it was one woman's title? You know what I mean? Like, she unified them because she won them. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't translate well. Maybe that's a bad idea. But, it was just a little interesting thing that I thought about. Seth and Dean versus the Usos. I hate that idea because the Usos have been so good lately. It really is, like, the best that I've enjoyed the Usos. And I feel like the Seth and Dean match is going to make them look bad.
Yeah, I think the reason the Usos have been so much more enjoyable lately is they got away from like the older Islander gimmick into like an actual
and they weren't
gimmick.
tethered to Reigns there for that little bit like they were too. Which that makes things a little bit more interesting too. We don't know if Reigns, I'm sure he's going to be part of the 5-on-5, but like, since the Shield's together, what if like Reigns is down there with the Shield? Like, isn't that a little awkwardness? Or do the Usos mention something about Reigns? Or there's a lot of areas that you can touch, but maybe some areas that you shouldn't.
Or is meningitis going to be finished with him by then?
I'm not done with you yet. So those are interesting matchups, and then there's Jinder versus Brock, and I'm gonna say it here. I've been saying it on Twitter, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Jinder Mahal is not going to be champion by WrestleMania 34. But if WWE, Vince, or whoever is responsible for making Jinder Mahal the champion in the first place, if they really want to be adamant in it being worth at least something and making him not instant back to jobber or something, have him win. And I don't mean pin Lesnar clean or anything like that. It could be the dirtiest win ever. But the fact that Jinder Mahal, not Braun Strowman, not Samoa Joe, not Roman Reigns, not any of these people can beat Brock Lesnar, but Jinder Mahal, who everyone despises and doesn't think should be WWE champion, pins Lesnar due to some reason. Of course, the internet and the WWE fans will blow up and lose their minds and not like it and whatever. But I don't know. That would just be their way of whoever it was to just stick it to the fans of, we wanted Jinder, and now Jinder has this win over Lesnar.
Well, you could even, don't even have to go that far. You could set up Brock's next feud and then have whoever you're going to be going against him that's not Reigns, probably whoever he faces at the Rumble or whatever, come out, cause Lesnar to lose via count-out or whatever, and Jinder's still got a
victory
win
over
for Brock.
Yep.
And even whenever Jinder loses the title, you don't necessarily have to send him back to
the bottom,
insta jobber status. You can put him in the middle somewhere and be like he's working his way back up to it.
Yep. The man has victories over Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles and blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like,
of course, James Ellsworth has victories over AJ Styles.
Let's not talk about that. We don't have enough time in this episode to cover that. But yeah, no, I just think that'll be a good idea. I don't want to speculate on who the 5-on-5 man teams are yet. Obviously, you can kind of draw conclusions on where you think it will go, but I'm just gonna let that play out, I guess, before I draw any lines in the sand, so to speak, and not talk in evolution.
I don't see any helicopters.
Well, there's no Lemmy either.
True.
Damn. R.I.P.
Yeah, we just got dark there for a minute.
Yeah, we did. anyways, so yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where that goes. Is there really anything else that you can think of to cover with in-ring stuff, not backstage stuff right now?
Not in WWE.
Do you have any with ROH?
I think basically just we're seeing like the play out of that angle with the Briscoes and Bully Ray. I think is your biggest thing right now.
Right.
Which you had the Tommy Dreamer come out like 2 weeks ago on TV, say the Bully couldn't be there because of his injuries, and then last week on TV you had Bully Ray come out and say his piece about him, possibly not being able to wrestle anymore because of his injuries and whatnot. And then Mark Briscoe came out and told him your problems aren't with the Briscoe brothers, your problems with Jay Briscoe. You don't have any problem with me. So looking like there's some trouble in Sussex County between the Briscoe brothers. And then later that night, Mark actually won the number one contendership for the ROH TV title. So he's actually got the tapings already happened, but the tapings in Philadelphia, but the middle in between that was actually the Pittsburgh show that we saw where Mark injured his elbow rather badly.
Oh yes, that was gruesome.
But Mark still cut an interview right before the TV tapings about how he was still going to be in Philadelphia to get his World TV title shot, and Jay Briscoe showed up during that and told Mark that he didn't feel like he should be taking singles title shots, that they should be a tag team because they're such a good tag team. So it's still looking like some more dissension between the Briscoe brothers. So I guess we have to see where that goes and where they can go with that with Mark's injury right now.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty messed up. I don't know what he's going to end up doing. Anything else going on in ROH that is worth any merit to at least this episode?
I don't think there's any other major things going on. I know they're kind of working a storyline with Cody because his recent challengers for the ROH title have been lower level guys like Scorpio Sky.
Yeah. And Cheeseburger.
And I know there was another lower guy he was set to face at the TV tapings in Philadelphia. So, I think they're working some storyline that he signed the contract and now he's just taking on all these lower level guys.
Yeah.
But I guess we see where that goes too.
Yeah, that is true.
Since we're kind of hitting the road to Final Battle now.
I'm interested to see, especially after knowing what we do after Global Wars, where Dalton winds up.
I'd say he's going to be taking on Cody because of Global Wars in Chicago. Cody was cutting his promo at the end and brought in a fan
who was wearing the American mask
and the Cody Rhodes t-shirt, and then off comes the mask, and it was Dalton because as he told Cody in Liverpool, he's still here, bitch.
Yeah. Watched the little backstage afterwards where Dalton said that he just wanted to let Cody know. That's why he was there, is Cody signed a lengthy contract with ROH. Well, he did too, and he just wanted to remind Cody and let him know that they would be beating the hell out of each other for a while. And so I enjoyed that. That was good. Outside of all of this, outside of the in-ring stuff, we'll wanted to touch on a couple of things around the world of wrestling. And the first thing is with the talent issue going on in WWE. And you and I have talked about it, and we're going to do a podcast episode based on something that you've told me over a year ago. And when you did it, it made a lot of sense then, but it's made so much more now. And it's even branched out in my mind, bigger than just the direction that you had put it being. But I think we're on the next boom for wrestling. I don't necessarily know if it's like, Monday Night Wars type of boom, but brand recognition and talent explosion and bigger names from people that might not be WWE soon. And but that's another episode. The issue that I'm talking about specifically is where we're hearing stuff about the talent now, with like Neville asking for his release reportedly, and Nia Jax taking a leave of absence and the reasons why behind that, and like when Austin Aries left, and reports that other wrestlers working in WWE have talked with Cody, and even background with Cody talking about how when they're signing some of these people, like through like the tournaments, like the UK tournament and stuff, it's not really that great of a deal. It's more or less you get the prestige of working for the WWE, but what if you only saw like once?
No, I mean, I don't even think you have to just say it's like Cody now. I think it's been a building culmination of things too, because whenever they were talking about bringing guys in for the brand split, I know there was guys talking about, or online talking about the deals that they were offered, and I know Tommy Dreamer especially said that he felt that they had lowballed him because he could make more than what they were offering him in a year to work less, and I think that's what's happening with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But I think that comes back around to WWE's money and attendance issues that people don't want to admit to. But I don't know if we want to get into that or not.
No, not yet. That might be something that we save for that bigger talk episode about it as well. But I don't know. I just find it interesting. I mean, I didn't include Jimmy Jacobs in that list because he wasn't brought in as a worker. He was brought in as a writer, but also his circumstances due to his release were completely different than like Neville asking for his. We still don't know why exactly. We assume that it's similar to the Austin Aries thing where he carried the cruiserweight division on his back, and now it's what it is now. Which, don't get me wrong, before Enzo came back, I started getting back into 205 Live. Like there was enough there to start bringing me back, and I do enjoy it. But yeah, Neville carried that stuff, and then it's Enzo and Kalisto now. And I don't know if maybe he was trying to get a push out of the division or just bigger recognition or what, and he wasn't getting it, and so that's prompted this. I'm not sure. But I mean, I don't necessarily think he's wrong. Unlike the Nia Jax situation, though, where she reportedly has asked for her leave of absence due to early plans of her losing to Sasha Banks at TLC. And she didn't like it and didn't want to do it. And so even, I guess, The Rock told her if she wasn't happy with the direction that she was going, then to leave. And, this is all report. It's all report. There's no, I don't have, I didn't see this firsthand, of course. But I don't necessarily agree with that from Nia Jax. Not only because she's not that big of a staple to the women's division yet, but also because she's an ingrown WWE talent as far as I've ever known. And so I don't know if she decided that she didn't want to do WWE anymore, if other companies would take her and pay her the amount that she's looking for, because I don't know if they're looking for someone like her. Would I think they'd do it for Sasha Banks? Immediately. Bayley? Yes. Becky Lynch? Charlotte? Yes. But I don't know if they'd do it for Nia Jax, because one, she's not been a women's champion, even, like that prestige alone. And they don't let her get to the big one yet. And I get that's your frustration, but when you don't have the background like some other people do, like, Neville worked on some indies. Cody, it's kind of been the opposite. So you can't really, like, use that, but like Jimmy Jacobs is already back in a ring and stuff, Nia doesn't have that. And if she goes somewhere else, I just don't know, because she's only done WWE business, if she would even manage things right for other companies' business.
She would be fun.
You think so?
Yeah. Because she's got a different markability there with, being the former plus-size model, with being, she's going to have auto name recognition even in places where, wrestling gets a little bit more respected, with being the Rock's cousin and everything.
I guess you...
And if you open up your bubble outside of your typical WWE women's match, there's a lot more women than aren't your stereotypical diva out there making it on the indie circuit, with people like Faye Jackson, Jordan Grace, Lufisto, people like that aren't your stereotypical, diva look.
Right.
But they can get in the ring and work a good match. And I think WWE just doesn't know how to use someone like her, because, with what she could do, she needs to kind of be the monster of the women's division. And it's like, hey, lose to Sasha, lose to this person, lose to that person. Well, you keep losing, you're not a monster.
I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it still as easy, but I get your points, and maybe it is easier than what I'm picturing it. But I feel like, as I said, someone like Neville has a better chance.
Well, I think anybody that's like stepping out of that with having that name recognition, if you're not like a complete, jobber like James Ellsworth is, whenever his contract up, he's just going to end up going back to the indie circuit.
He's going to be all over him, and
Jimmy Dream and whatever.
The return. Well, he's going to be James Ellsworth for a while, I'm sure, and then eventually it's the return of Jimmy Dream.
But I mean, it's what it's going to be. But if you where you've had like Cody come in, you get Aries, Neville. I would even take like Nia into that if she ended up there, unless you get to the point that there's so many people leaving there that you've
flooded your market,
flooded the complete market there, that you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless too much happens and that bubble completely bursts, they'll be fun.
Yeah. I suppose you're right on that. There is, I'm moving on from it for now, because as I said, we're gonna come back and do a whole big thing just on this
topic,
wrestling revolution, so to speak. But maybe that's what we'll call it. I don't know.
I'm thinking it should be the time machine, but
all right,
because it's looking like could be turning into almost a form of the territory days.
Yeah, that is true. But okay, so what am I? Wanted to talk about something again. Like I said, this little bit of section is kind of the outside round wrestling. It might not be full blown in, but Cultaholic, which is the group of Adam Blampier, Pacitti, Jack the Jobber, King Ross, which I don't know if they're still Jack the Jobber and King Ross, and Sam Driver leaving What Culture. They're starting their new thing, but recent developments have come out where Adam Blampier released a statement basically saying that he used his stature and his fame to get women to send him inappropriate photos while lying to them about his relationship areas, and he just ruined all of that, and he was being misogynistic, and it's he was taking advantage of women, and that he didn't approve of it. He was upset about it, and that he was gonna take a little leave to get some help and make sure that he doesn't hurt anybody again in those regards, or any regards really. It's got a good bit of attention, especially because their launch date was coming up here on November 1st. And recently, Cultaholic themselves released a statement saying that they are standing behind Blampier, and they're going to delay their initial launch to wait on him. And I've been reading some tweets and stuff, and people are so quick to just throw people under the bus over everything, and I'm not justifying and saying what he did was right, and he's not either. He came back onto Twitter today just to kind of answer some of that and cool that down, and he said that he admits that he was wrong and he's the bad person, and so just don't take it out on the women, don't make an argument about it, don't make a debate. He's in the wrong, and so we'll put that there. He is. But it's one of those things where I don't know. Where's the line? Where's the level of people make mistakes? And he didn't post that out. He didn't post that 4 days before they go to launch to get attention, because they're not launching. They're delayed now even more. He did that for himself. He did that for the people that were involved. He did it as a grounds to. It wasn't making him even a hero. It was just, I got some stuff I got to deal with. I've been a bad person. I'm sorry. It was. I don't know. I interpreted this a little bit differently, and I just see too often, not just in this situation, but in the world, one person has done one wrong thing, and everyone wants to shame them for the rest of their lives. There are some things that do warrant that. I will not say that there's not, but I feel like this incident, when you see the world that we live in, you got the Weinstein stuff coming out and everything now, which, by the way, in comparison is like millions of times worse, so I get that, but I didn't look at this as detrimental and killer to him as what a majority of people seem to make it to be. And then they were getting mad at Cultaholic for sticking by him and kind of defending it, and I actually really was kind of happy about that, because I think about us in Real Shoot, we're not in any realm to even be talking about using stature about anything. I mean, we're the dog turd on the bottom of wrestling's shoe right now. You know what I mean?
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We can at least though say that we're the shit. Daggone it. Anyways, but if we have evolved and elevated to a bigger platform, like I hope we do, if anything was done by you guys and to this level, like I said, there are some things that, yeah, like, you're done. You're done. Like, just forget about it. But I would want us to be behind whoever did it. Like, like supporting them to get better. Even if it was me, like, I would hope it would be the same way. And, like, I don't think you should shun an entire brand for camaraderie, even in a dark time. No one ever said that he was right. Everyone agreed that he was in the wrong. But he's trying to do better for it. And it's like, too often we don't even want to give someone another chance.
Well, I mean, you have that with every, now people don't believe in second chances. I have to think, but
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I think that's like a social media thing almost now, or just the world we live in, that it's easier to shun someone than try to help them or support them. But, at least for us, I think Real Shoot's a different environment because, we've had like some of our, things happen with people on the page.
Yeah.
And when we had that whole issue before, we actually, had people with, personal issues contacting us personally just to have someone to talk to. So
yeah, like, and let that be clear and always known, whether you're listening to us, from SoundCloud or the podcast launch or iTunes, or you saw the link through our Facebook or our Twitter or Instagram, wherever the hell you decided to listen to this, and you've been following us. We're always here to listen. Like, I would much rather hear from you guys feedback or help you than to ever make anyone feel like they're alone. You're a part of Real Shoot. You're a part of the Real Shoot family, and like, we're there for you. So that's first and foremost when it comes to that. And so, like, yeah, we definitely deal with that a lot more. But like, yeah, we've talked to people who aren't even, they're not admins or anything. They've just been with us since the beginning and stuff. And they have demons. Like, everybody has something, but it's what you do with those. You're working to become better. That's awesome. Let me support that, rather than, oh, nope, you messed up one time and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be like that. Like, how do you ever expect a peaceful world and society if the first time someone does something, and again, there are some things that, yes, one time is enough,
but for most
things, yes.
If that's how we're gonna get down, how are we gonna get up, basically?
Exactly. And I kind of just wanted to bring attention to that because, I'm very anxious and excited for Cultaholic's debut. I really am. I've enjoyed those guys. Like, I've almost entirely quit watching What Culture. I've caught a few WCPW just because it was ending before Defiant started. And then Simon, I've watched a few of his videos since, but I unsubscribed, so I just find them by random chance now because these guys are the guys I was watching it for in the first place. And so I'm excited for that. And so to have this happen, like, yeah, it sucks. And I hope Adam gets better and does things better. And I hope their launch is a huge success. But I just felt it was worth talking about here since they cover a lot of wrestling. And also they're, kind of a social media brand type of deal that you gotta be more accepting of someone's faults when they are openly admitting that they have a problem, and supportive and helping, rather than instantly turning your back, because nothing will ever get resolved and nothing good will come from you walking away from someone who's trying to get help. And so, yeah. But that's all I'm going to talk about that. I will go ahead and hand it over here to Rob so that he can give you a plug about what's happening this weekend with Real Shoot Pro Wrestling, our actual wrestling promotion that is happening here in North Central West Virginia. It is making its trails down to the southern part of the state for now, and we're continuously working on trying to make that bigger and better. And of course, we're going to give you guys details on that. But Rob had posted a review or a preview of the upcoming show. If you haven't checked it out, it's on our Facebook. And I'm sure if it hasn't been shared right after this comes out, it will be shared on the RSPW Wrestling Facebook page. So definitely go and give that a check out. But I'm going to hand this over to him, let him talk about the show that's up this upcoming weekend. And yeah, so take it away.
Yeah, we've got like a little bit of news for the promotion for those of you that have been following it from the beginning, but they're now a part of the AIWF, which is now like the largest, as you would call it, sanctioning body for independent promotions in the U.S. And so, of course, that's a big thing to be under an umbrella like that. And of course, we got a new venue for the show this time, which is address 405 9th Street in Fairmont. But as far as the matches go, we've got Metrosexual Mayhem Corey Mason with Chris Sova taking on newcomer Duke Beefhammer. And then second match, the Butcher of Plainfield, Vinny Giscondi with his new manager, Ravishing Rico, taking on the DEFCON hero Scott Dotson, which we've seen them before with Dotson getting the win, but Vinny made some comments to Dotson's wife, so we'll see where that goes. And then probably in one of the unsung aspects, but RSPW's tag matches, and what may be one of the better matches of the night, or in my opinion probably will be, Lucha Rules 4-way tag match with the Handsome Devils taking on their opponents from last time, the Elements, and then also the teams of the White Trash Maniac, Ron Mathis and Carter Lasik, and Christian Cobain and Johnny Magnum. And then we have a West Virginia Legends match with Scotty McKeever, who was actually on some WCW TV and on Smoky Mountain Wrestling TV. If you've watched that, taking on adorable Danny Ray, which I've seen a lot of West Virginia guys kind of mention him as a kind of a mentor or a guy that's helped them along in their careers. And then we have our fifth match, which is for the Hooligans 26 title with Street Fight Rules, with the rematch from last time, but this time it's for the title with TL Andrews taking on the champ Smokey C. And then in your main event, we got Mr. DDT Bruce Gray taking on the Mid-Valley Wrestling World Champion, the EWA National Champion, and the Savage Openweight Champion, the Fearless Faith Killer TJ Phillips, with all three belts on the line.
Oh, wow.
And it's
triple title match.
Wow. And it's actually kind of a new challenge for TJ, not against like the other two guys we've seen him against so far.
Yeah.
So, should definitely be a good match. Of course, I know I, for one, always enjoy all of TJ's matches anyway.
Right. Oh, yeah, TJ's awesome. I hope that we get him on one of these podcast episodes here soon. So
yeah, we definitely need to get TJ on. And just kind of a couple other notes from the show. Bring your little ghouls and goblins out because there's going to be trick-or-treating for them. And if you're an adult, throw on a costume because there's going to be a costume contest for adults. So,
Awesome.
And of course, just to kind of reiterate, new venue for the show, 405 9th Street in Fairmont. And if I'm correct, that's the Episcopal Church with an 8:05 bell time.
Okay.
So
8:05 is bell time.
definitely
It's Saturday.
be there. Check that out on Saturday.
Yeah, and anyone listening to this, if you don't go back and keep checking out the details here, check the Instagram, check the Facebook page, check the Facebook group, check our Twitter. It's there. The information is there, and we hope to see you all there at said show. And it should be a good time. It should be a real good time.
It's definitely some of the best shows in the area we've been to.
Yes. We're not going to put something out there that is bottom of the barrel. We work amongst our means, just like everyone in this state does. They work as hard as they can, but no shortcuts. When it comes to the wrestling ability and the way that our matches go. So definitely check us out. And
I think tickets are like $7, so it'd be $7 well spent to show up.
For sure. All right. Well, I think that about does it for us today, right?
Yeah.
All right. For everyone that was listening, thanks for listening. We're back. And these are definitely coming more regular. We've got some bits and stuff that we're working in and how to integrate them to the show. We have a few ideas for some long topic shows instead of, peppering here and there. But at the same time, that's kind of what this is about. That's kind of what this podcast is about. It's about these ideas and just talking wrestling with, amongst ourselves, with you guys, with people that, will add into the show. If you have questions, if you have ideas that you want to hear be talked about, like, tag us, message us, let us know.
Because this podcast is kind of like you were just hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this.
Exactly.
Maybe with a few less jokes, but
yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah. We're not taking plugs from anyone yet. We haven't got made it to that level of sponsorship yet, except for Smooth Rob's Subaru Impreza. Is the nicest ride you'll have with a smooth operator named Rob. I'm just saying, this has been a good, nice episode to record here, and I wouldn't mind coming back to this venue. That's all I'll say. But anyways, for Mr. ROH, the professor. Sorry, we've evolved. We hit that next plateau. We're the IWS. For the professor, Rob Woofter, and LBJ, and Alan, who's being a dad.
Responsible or something.
Yeah. We're gonna bid you adieu for today, and we'll catch you here sometime real soon. I'd say probably about a week. So, peace.